Good morning and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 132, and hopefully I'll finish the story of Donkey Skin today. Now, remember, the prince had peered in through that keyhole and seen the princess and really had fallen into a state of longing and despair because he didn't know how to proceed with this. He was supposed to marry a woman that would be his equal from the right family, an allegiance which would increase the power and strength of the kingdom. And so here he had basically fallen in love with a woman that he knew was a mere servant in one of their country houses. And he didn't know what to do. He didn't feel like he could even share it with anyone. And finally, his mother got him to share all of it with him. And she was supportive of him and encouraged him to go back to that country home and to try to make her acquaintance. And so he did. But what he found out when he got there, when he inquired about the one young maiden that worked there at the country house for the mistress and or for the woman that oversaw the country house and her husband, well, they just laughed. And there were some young men that worked there too, and they laughed and told the prince he was crazy to even think about that serving woman because, well, they all called her Donkey Skin because she wore that donkey skin every time she came out. Well, he just kept after it, and he said, no, I really would like to spend some time with her and meet her. And, well, Donkey Skin was reluctant to meet him as well because her experience with men at this point was really not good. It turned out that he went up and she was in her room again and sat outside the door. And what happened was an amazing thing because they began to talk on either side of that closed door. And their conversation with each other was sweet and gentle and questioning, answering in this way that really began to melt that wound that the young princess Donkey Skin was now carrying around with her. And as they spoke, the story of who she really was came out. That she was basically the daughter of a king, stepdaughter of a king, and had been raised in a way that would be considered very suitable for a royal family. Well, all this began to come out, and as it did, the young prince shared it with his mother, and, well, you can imagine, it was quite a relief to the prince's mother and father that this young maiden was a suitable match for their son. Now, the mother would have supported it no matter what, but the prince's father, the king, well, you know how men get sometimes. They want things just right, and, appearance is everything, and in order to uphold the family integrity, this and that needs to happen, and just this way. Well, I can tell you, much to the surprise of everyone who had come into contact with Donkey Skin through all those days, when the royal carriage came to pick her up, for it had been arranged, and the prince had convinced her that all would be well. Donkey Skin could not come out without that skin still upon her. She came out and got into the carriage, and the prince with her, and he could see through to her beauty, but she was still so shy and had gotten so used to, well, living within that shell of a donkey skin that it was hard for her to truly come out from beneath it. But a lovely thing happened. When they arrived at the royal palace, the prince got down and opened the door of the carriage, and he was committed to going through whatever it took with his fiancée, his soon-to-be bride, and he reached out his hand to help her out of the carriage. She began to step out, but somehow the edge of that donkey skin had caught upon the seat of the carriage. It was an enclosed carriage, and as she stepped out, the skin was pulled off of her, and she was already descending out of the carriage and the stair, and the skin just, well, fell to the floor of the carriage and draped down the stairs, and there the princess was standing in all her beauty. The beauty within shining out just in such an amazing way that everyone that was in the courtyard when she arrived could not help but be caught by it all. Well, in not so many days afterwards, a beautiful wedding ceremony was held, and from what I understand, that prince and princess, and not so many years after, became the king and the queen over that land. And the remarkable thing was, because they had been so true to culturing and being committed to the joy of love, it seemed to have an effect over their entire kingdom, and it was known throughout the land as being that kingdom where conflict did not seem to be a part of everyday existence, but instead a harmony and an appreciation of everything and everyone. I'd like to live in such a place. Okay, that's the end of the story. Hope you enjoyed it, and join tomorrow for day 133, where I'll be telling some story from my own life, my life as a steward. Okay, thank you. Have a good rest of your day.